Most of us have the same goal on the highway. We're not trying to drive fast for fun, and we're probably not trying to save energy at all costs. We're just trying to go the speed of traffic. In a gas car, that choice seems almost free. You go a little faster, you burn a little more fuel, and most of the time you don't really notice. But when the same driving pattern shows up in an electric vehicle, the cost becomes more obvious. Not because EVs are worse cars, but because they make it easier to see how much energy you're using and how that relates to the distance you have left to travel. That's why some people are surprised by highway range. In this video, I'm going to explain why highway speed hits EV range so hard and, more importantly, how to keep up with traffic without compromising range more than you need to. And by the end, you'll understand why this isn't really an EV problem at all, it's a traffic problem that EVs simply expose. This is Wrench and Reason, where we explain how modern cars actually work. To make sense of this, it helps to separate how we experience driving from what the car is actually spending energy on. At lower speeds, energy use is spread across a lot of things: moving the car, rolling resistance, accessories. But as speed increases, one factor starts to dominate: the air. At moderate speeds, air resistance is just part of the background. But at highway speeds, it becomes the main job the car is doing. And this is where EVs are different. Not because of how they feel to drive, but because they're working with a much smaller total energy reserve while fighting the same aerodynamic drag. Gas cars have been paying this penalty all along. They just hide it a little better. In a gas car, fuel is being burned even when the car isn't moving efficiently, so at idle, during warm-up, and just keeping the engine running. But in an EV, the energy required when you're not moving is much lower than it is in a gas car. So when air resistance ramps up at highway speed, it shows up directly in energy use and remaining range. That's why highway driving can seem perfectly normal for a while, and then range starts dropping faster than expected. Not because something broke, but because you've crossed into a speed range where aerodynamic drag becomes the dominant cost. And the key thing to understand is this: it's not that fast driving is bad, it's that small changes in speed at highway speeds matter more than most people expect. So let's talk about the real-world constraint. Highway traffic wasn't designed around electric vehicles, it was shaped around gas cars. Gas cars normalize cruising speeds where efficiency penalties feel manageable and refueling is pretty quick. So when people driving EVs ask, how do I maximize range without slowing down? What they really are asking is, how do I stay with traffic without paying the full range penalty? And the answer isn't to drive slowly, it's to understand that highway speed has a sweet spot. Every EV has one. And below it, efficiency holds up well, but above it, range starts falling faster than most people expect. Traffic doesn't care where the sweet spot is, so the goal isn't slow, the goal is intentional. Now, this is the part you can actually use. Don't be the pace car. There's a real difference between flowing with traffic and setting the pace. When you're out in front, speed tends to creep upward. You're constantly correcting and nudging faster. And when you're flowing with traffic but not leading it, speed stays a little steadier and efficiency does too. So the first move is simple. Don't lead the traffic. Let traffic settle into a pace you can live with. Then use lanes strategically, not emotionally. The right lane isn't the slow lane, it's the steady lane. And steady speed matters more than peak speed. If you're constantly passing, you're constantly changing speed, even if it doesn't feel aggressive. Those small changes add up, so pick a lane where you can hold a smooth, predictable pace with minimal braking and reaccelerating. That's often where range quietly improves. Match the main flow, not the fastest flow. This is where a lot of range gets saved. If traffic is doing 75, you don't have to do 75 to belong. You just need to avoid being an obstacle. EV efficiency doesn't punish you for being slightly slower. It punishes you for living in the fast band for long stretches. So instead of matching the fastest cars, match the bulk of traffic. You're not trying to win the highway, you're trying to arrive with margin. And then when you choose speed, choose it consciously. Sometimes you need to move. You're late. You're beating weather. You're trying to get home. In those moments, don't pretend the car won't notice. Just make the trade intentionally. Driving faster usually means choosing one of three things: an earlier charging stop, a longer charging stop, or a tighter margin when you arrive. None of those are failures unless they surprise you. So control feels better than surprise. On long highway drives, range doesn't disappear because of one fast moment. It disappears because of sustained speed combined with constant variation. If you're calm, steady, and flowing with traffic, you will go farther than you expect. If you are constantly passing, braking, and reaccelerating, range drains quietly. The car isn't judging you, it's just responding. So here's the takeaway. Electric vehicles didn't suddenly make highway driving worse. They made energy trade-offs easier to see. Modern traffic was shaped around fuel systems where speed penalties are smaller and refueling is instant. EVs can absolutely handle highway speeds, but if you live in the fastest band of traffic all the time, you're going to pay for it. The win isn't driving slow, the win is driving with a plan that keeps you in the efficient zone while still feeling normal. Once you understand that, highway driving stops feeling fragile because now you're choosing your pace instead of discovering the cost later. In a future video, I'll talk about how this stacks up with cold weather because cold plus highway speed is where a lot of people get blindsided. But for now, the big idea is simple. You don't need to crawl to protect range. You just need to stop letting the fastest traffic set your strategy. This is Wrench and Reason, where we explain how modern cars actually work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.